is Apocalypse? In 1986, the Marvel Universe was introduced to the world's first mutant, Apocalypse. Thanks to writer Louise Simonson and artist Jack Geese, the mutant landscape would forever be changed. The character's creation came about after the splintering of the X-Men, which brought about the need for a new mutant book from Marvel titled X Factor. Featuring the original 5 members of the X-Men team now working together as a much more covert operation, but in desperate need of a big bad. As the X-Men had Magneto, X Factor needed their own nemesis that would prove not only formidable, but also cast a shadow large enough to propel mutant stories for years to come. Thus, Apocalypse was born. Now, as the leader of the Alliance of Evil, Apocalypse was introduced in the last page of X Factor issue 5, the world's first mutant born with self-molecular control which would allow him shapeshifting, but that's not all. Apocalypse has superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, genius-level intellect, matter and energy manipulation, flight, telekinesis, teleportation, telepathy, and the list goes on and on. Oh, yeah, and he's also immortal. Now, as the years passed, Apocalypse was retroactively introduced into stories that had been published before he was even created, further pushing the idea that he had been in the shadows pulling the strings the whole time. As the world's first mutant, Apocalypse came with a clear-cut agenda. He didn't care if you were a mutant. If you were weak, you would be destroyed. Now, born thousands of years ago in Egypt, Apocalypse was abandoned by his people because of his gray skin and blue lips. It was a tribe of nomadic people known as the Sandstormers who believed in survival of the fittest that would end up taking him in because of his will to survive. He was given the name SABAH NUR, which Marvel says it translates to the first one. It was during these early years that the time traveler Kang the Conqueror would come to Egypt and pose as a pharaoh and also lead a charge to destroy the Sandstormers. Now, this eventually led to SABAH NUR's full mutant abilities to emerge, and the rampaging being renamed himself Apocalypse. Now, it's after these events that Apocalypse travels the earth testing the strong. Along the way, he forms Clan Aqaba and becomes the ancient nemesis of the Eternals. During this time, he battles the likes of Thor, Vlad the Impaler, as well as the Eternal Circe. Now, using celestial technology, he enters suspended animation as to be revived at a later time when mutants are much more prominent on the Earth. It is the arrival of a time-traveling mutant known as Cable that awakens him from his slumber. You see, Cable actually has a good reason for wanting Apocalypse dead. He's the son of Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, who was taken to the future by Ascani to hopefully cure him of the techno-organic virus. But the future that young Cable grew up in? Yeah, that future, it's a future where Apocalypse reigns supreme. Now, Apocalypse's history in the Marvel Universe is riddled with clones, time travel, as well as alternate realities, which makes for a very convoluted history, but it is one that is certainly deep and rich. His Darwinian way of thinking has kept this character involved for much of Marvel's biggest mutant storylines, from all-powerful villain to young clone looking to break away from the shadow of his progenitor. Apocalypse has certainly traversed the spectrum of character development. Now, at this time, in Jonathan Hickman's House of X and Powers of 10, we see a different Apocalypse. One who sees that mutants now have the chance to achieve what he's always wanted: dominance over the Earth. As a sitting member of the Quiet Council of Krakoa, it would seem that at least for now, this villain has turned to the side of good. SABAH NUR, ruler or savior? Only time will tell what plans Marvel has for the entity formerly known as Apocalypse. But as a fan, I could say either way they go, it's always guaranteed to be a good read. Now, I do want to leave you with one recommendation before this video ends. If you're looking for a great Apocalypse arc, look no further than the Age of Apocalypse. Now, this does take place outside of the Marvel 616 universe. However, it has some of the best mutant character designs ever, and it is certainly one of Apocalypse's, I would say, fan favorite storylines. So check that one out. And before I leave you, as always, keep it geekly.
After too long a sleep, deep within my stronghold, once more regenerating, healing, Apocalypse lives!
What's that in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's
Top Geekly!